Ever get that, like, I don't know, that weird feeling that something's off with technology? Like a glitch, a message that just doesn't sit right. Like it's trying to tell you something, but not in the good way.
Yeah.
Well, today we're going deep, like really deep, into a case in Franklin, Pennsylvania. It's pretty unsettling. Normal people, everyday folks, driven to violence by messages on their devices, like their screens.
Yikes. That's scary.
Yeah, it really is. We're talking people losing it because of what they're seeing on ATMs, microwaves, you name it.
So, like, what are we looking at? What kicked all this off?
We've got articles, summaries, all related to, the X-Files.
Oh, yeah, of course.
The episode Blood, Season 2.
Yeah, you're right.
Classic. And we're going to figure out, what happened in Franklin? Like, what could have caused this?
Okay, so like a deep dive into the weirdness and maybe what it says about us.
Exactly. The power of suggestion. Maybe even something darker.
Oh, that's creepy. I'm in.
Good. So, starting right at the beginning, we've got Edward Funch, a postal worker. Gets some bad news, a layoff. And on top of that stress, bam, his machine flashes, kill them all.
Whoa.
Yeah, heavy stuff. And at the same time, over at the Civic Center, a packed elevator, and this guy starts seeing messages on the LED display. First, no air, then get this, can't breathe, and finally that same kill them all.
Okay, so right away it's like targeted, right? The messages play on what they're already feeling.
You got it. Funch, worried about his job, the guy in the elevator, feeling trapped.
Makes you wonder, like, how? How does it know?
And hold on, it gets worse. Special Agent Fox Mulder shows up at the Civic Center, and it's a massacre. The sheriff, he's shaken, says there's been a ton of these killings in Franklin, way too many. Mulder, he notices the LED displays busted up, and the suspect, green residue on his fingers.
Green residue, that's specific.
Right, like it's a clue, but what does it mean?
Yeah, it's like something physical is involved, right? Not just in their heads.
Exactly. And then there's Funch at the ATM, probably freaking out about money, the layoff, and the screen. It starts giving instructions. Security guard, take his gun, and then, yep, you guessed it, kill them all. Funch smashes the thing and runs.
So it's not just like broadcasting the same message to everyone, right? It's changing, adapting.
And that's where Scully comes in, a skeptical scientist. She pores over Mulder's report, all his out there theories, and she finds a link. Every single one of these crazy killings, the suspect destroyed electronics.
That is interesting. Like they knew or thought they knew where it was coming from.
It's like they're trying to shut it up. Silence the thing that's telling them to kill.
Disturbing, but makes you think.
Totally. And the violence, it doesn't stop. We've got Bonnie McRoberts at a car repair shop. And the engine diagnostic thing, it flashes, mechanic is going to rave her.
Oh, God.
Yeah, awful. She grabs an oil can spout, uses it as a weapon, and, well, you can guess the rest.
It's getting more and more specific, like playing on very, very personal fears.
And then at McRoberts' house, Mulder and the sheriff are questioning her, and her microwave suddenly says, kill them. She attacks Mulder, knife in hand, and the sheriff has to shoot her.
Wow, it's escalating so fast. Like 1 minute it's a warning, the next it's a command.
Scully does the autopsy and finds crazy high adrenaline levels and that same green stuff, the unknown substance, from the elevator killer. Her theory, it's like some messed up LSD trip.
LSD, like hallucinating.
But worse, it's messing with their brain chemistry, like a supercharged stress response, only 1,000,000 times worse.
So something's making them see and react to these messages in a totally extreme way.
Right. And poor Funch, he's spiraling. The messages are everywhere, constant. Then there's this awful scene in a blood drive.
The blood drive.
Yeah. A volunteer asks him to donate, a normal thing. And suddenly all the TVs around them start showing violent stuff, just horrible images.
Yeah.
Then a message for Funch. Get a gun.
Oh my God, he's seeing this everywhere now.
And you know what? This is actually where Mulder figures it out. See, he's out investigating this orchard one night, and a crop duster, like those planes that spray pesticides, it gets him.
Wait, what?
Yeah, he ends up in the hospital. And lying there, he sees it on a TV. Do it now.
So it's the pesticides.
That's his theory. He thinks the stuff they're spraying, it's got a chemical, something to scare bugs, but somehow it's affecting people too.
Affecting people? How?
Making them, open to the messages.
Yeah.
Like their fears are amplified, turned up to 11, and they snap.
Yeah.
It's like their phobias become a trigger for violence.
So it's not mind control exactly, but more like manipulation.
Exactly. And of course, Mulder thinks there's something bigger going on, a conspiracy. Maybe the government's behind it, using Franklin as a test site, which, wouldn't be that surprising.
Classic Mulder. Always got to be a conspiracy.
Right. But think about it. They get the city councilman to stop the spraying, but they frame it as a cholesterol study. Why the cover-up?
Yeah, that's suspicious. Trying to keep it quiet.
And Mulder and Scully, they realize Funch hasn't been tested for anything weird, so they go to his house, and it's chaos. Electronics are destroyed everywhere, smashed to bits.
He's trying to stop the messages, but he can't.
And Mulder, he puts it all together. The blood drive, the images, the message to get a gun. He figures out Funch's phobia. It's blood. And then they find an empty rifle case.
Oh, no. He's gonna hurt someone.
Yeah. It all leads to the clock tower right above the blood drive. Funch starts shooting randomly into the crowd.
Oh, God.
It's intense. Mulder climbs the tower, confronts him, they fight, and finally Funch is arrested.
Thank goodness. So it's over, right?
Well, Mulder calls Scully, tells her it's done. But then, as he hangs up, he looks at his cell phone and it says, all done, and then bye-bye, like a taunt.
Someone's watching. They knew.
That's the creepiest part. Even when it's over, it's not really over.
It really makes you think, like, is anything truly private anymore?
Right. And what's fascinating is that this episode, it tapped into real fears. Back then, people are worried about subliminal messaging, like their TVs were talking to them.
Yeah, I remember that, like those stories about hidden messages and songs.
Exactly. And one of the writers, Glenn Morgan, his phobia was blood. So he used that. And there was actually controversy about malathion spraying, a pesticide, in California at the time. So those fears were real.
Wow, so they took those real anxieties and like amplified them, turned it into this terrifying story.
And the guys who wrote it, Morgan and James Wong, they were masters of suspense. Wong even worked on The Dead Zone with Stephen King later on.
Oh, wow, so he's got a thing for creepy stuff.
Totally. And you know what else is interesting? The messages, they weren't some digital trick. They were real words on real screens. It wasn't CGI or anything.
That's smart. Like, it could really happen.
Yeah. And the actor who played Funch, William Sanderson, he was amazing. You really believed he was losing his mind.
It was so good. Like, you felt bad for him even though he was doing terrible things.
Right. And there's even that moment where Mulder's own fear comes out, his fear of heights when he climbs the clock tower.
It's like even the hero has weaknesses, you know?
Yeah.
Makes him more human.
Absolutely. And the whole thing with the pesticides, it's like a hidden danger, something we use every day, and it could be messing with our minds. That's scary.
Yeah, like we don't even know what's out there, what could be affecting us.
And that feeling that someone's pulling the strings, the government, whoever, it leaves you wondering, who's really in control?
Right. Like, are we just pawns in some bigger game? That's unsettling.
Totally. And I think what makes this episode so powerful is that it's not about aliens or monsters. It's about us, our fears, and how technology could be used against us. It's a horror story for the digital age.
Definitely. And it's not so far-fetched either. Think about all the data companies collect on us, what they could potentially do with it.
Oh, don't even get me started. But yeah, Blood, it's a classic. Even the title is clever, you know? Blood as in violence, but also blood tests, blood as a phobia, the pesticides getting into our bloodstreams.
It works on so many levels.
Exactly. So we've learned about this pesticide, maybe used on purpose to make people vulnerable to these subliminal messages, all aimed at exploiting their worst fears. And maybe, just maybe, someone is behind it all, watching.
It's a lot to think about.
It is. And it makes you wonder, in our world with all our gadgets and screens, how safe are we really? What messages are we being fed without even knowing it?
That's the question, isn't it? What's influencing our thoughts, our decisions, and how much control do we really have?
Yeah, that's something to think about. Maybe it's time we all took a closer look at the screens around us and what they might be whispering to us. Who knows what's lurking just beneath the surface?